have been real hard for the editors to put together, Marcedes, because there's a lot of games, a lot of plays, a lot of seasons to choose from. Do you know that you have played the most games in NFL history at the tight end position?
Yeah, I think the last 2 or 3 years I kind of been keeping track of it. I want to say before that it was never really on my radar, and I think
Mm.
just personnel and teammates started making me aware of it. So it's pretty cool for real.
Cool. Congratulations on that. And it's good to see you. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Entering 20. Where does your head go when I say, I was just talking to Levante David. He's like, 14. I can't believe it. Year 20. Where does your head go?
Mm, Consistency, um, hard work. Obviously, there's a little luck that plays into it as far as, I've never had any major injuries, knock on wood, no surgeries. And so I'm just grateful to be in this moment and, always being present. I think that's what's kept me mentally locked in, and I still love the game. And it's just a real beautiful thing. Obviously, as a kid, you want to make it to the NFL, and obviously, if you work hard enough and um, you just stick to it, you're able to do these type of things. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm on borrowed time, and I don't even like to think about it much, to be honest, because I don't want to jinx myself. But I'm
I
I'm
can
truly,
tell.
truly grateful.
We had Deshaun Jackson on the show earlier this week, your old Long Beach Poly pal. And
Okay.
and he loves you, obviously. What stuck out to me that he was saying was he just can't believe that you're still playing. And it's not a health, not a luck thing, just the grind of it. He goes like, just the way you play, Marcedes, like you're out there blocking and it's over and over. And like, we see it, like you look just as good as you did 20 years ago for Chicago, Lester. But like he was saying like the grind, how can you love the game so much? That stuck out to me. So how can you love the game so much?
Man, I first of all, I appreciate that. I think one of the coolest things about playing this sport, or any just professional sport in general, is earning the respect of your peers. And some of the closest relationships I have come from playing this game, whether it's on the field or off the field. And for me, retirement was just never the goal. If that makes sense. Like once you're here, and if you can put in the work, I'm gonna go until my body is like, hey, all right, bro, it's time to hang it up. And I'm just obviously not at that point yet. When I wake up in the morning, I still love the game, and I think that's um, what kind of gives me purpose in this thing. When I'm done playing, I ever want to look back and like, man, I wish I could have did that. Like, I wish I could have played one more year, or I'm sitting on the couch with my boys watching games, and it's like, man, I could have did this. No, but when I'm done, obviously I want to get this 20th season and then retire. When I'm done, I'll be able to watch the game and be grateful and happy that I was able to give it all I had and I didn't have anything left. And, um, part of that kind of fuels my purpose and showing people that it can be done if you just work hard enough.
It's beautifully said. So it's 20 and done. This is your last year.
Yeah, like I think mentally I'm going into it saying this is my last year. Obviously blessed to have had 19 amazing years, and the journey has been great. Obviously being in Jacksonville for 12, learned a lot, not just about football and being a really good football player, but a really good person too. Like, it was so much adversity that I faced in Jacksonville year in and year out, with as much turnover as we had there, trying to build teams so that we can, compete, not just in our division, but, in the league in general, with it being an expansion team and all of that. So, so many lessons along the way. And I think that kind of sharpened my tools and got me ready for what
Mm.
I was able to experience in Green Bay. And, in some ways, I felt like I was reinvigorated and rejuvenated in Green Bay. It's almost as if I got drafted in Green Bay. That's how the people accepted me and took me in as if I was one of theirs. And, my 5 years there were some of the best years of my life. And I don't know if it's maybe because I went into it with it being my 13th, 14th year, or was it just experience, or both of them combined? But it just felt really good, and I'll never forget those years that I spent in Green Bay. And fast forward to Chicago, that off season after I left Green Bay. there was no question in my mind that I want to play. It was just about where. And when
Hmm.
you get older, a little older in the tooth, you want to play with, coaches that you've either played for before or teammates that you either played with. And I was fortunate enough. Luke Getsy was there. He was in Green Bay when I was in Green Bay, so he understands my style of play, the scheme in which I'm able to thrive under. And they were running the same scheme in Chicago, so that's why I chose Chicago, 3 years ago to do that. And spent 2 years there and still playing almost 30% of the plays now. And it's not as if like I'm just this old guy and I can't stay healthy. I think I'm
Hmm.
like 18 games in 19 years. Like that's, durable. I'm still doing my thing. I still practice.
Yes.
I'm still a student. I'm learning. I'm not in meetings acting as if I know it all. I think that's kind of what keeps me locked in and my seatbelt on. And I'm just grateful to have that type of um, growth mindset about my work. I mean, that's the reason why I'm here.
It's so beautifully said. And you answered a lot of my questions I had from you when I woke up this morning, knowing that I was going to talk to you. I wanted to know if you were going to do 20 and done. I don't love that you're closing the door on that, but I think it's like such an achievement. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful bookend, but it puts pressure, my man, like on like where are we going this year? And I think you have a lot of agency. I think you're an attractive candidate for all the reasons you're saying. You're not you're durable. I was watching your shit from Chicago. Like you are in it. You are like they want you back. I'm sure they're gonna figure that out. But now you're saying your priorities are like what are the priorities for year 20? Being it that it's such a
So,
huge year. You said a coach you've played for. You
yeah.
really are speaking very beautifully about Green Bay. And I might love to see it. They've got two young tight ends. You have familiarity with LaFleur. Would you welcome a return to Lambeau?
Well, it's funny that you say that. I know that that last year when I was there, it was close. They were close to bringing me back for another year before I signed with Chicago. But the direction that they were going was going to be young, and obviously Matt is one of my best friends now. He FaceTimed me last week, and we were kind of talking about it. Um, and it's really out of his hands, And I understand the business side of it. I think that's another reason. Like if you can kind of compartmentalize what you do well, understanding that this game is still a business and it's not necessarily personal, you'll always get the best out of yourself. And I've been able to understand that since I was in Jacksonville, and never necessarily let my feelings get in the way of the work that I put in, and the work always will show on the film, and that's really what I have complete control over is my attitude, my effort, regardless of where I am. And it's just one of those things. I feel like it ended a little too soon in Green
Mm.
Bay. Obviously, guys were leaving. A-Rod left, Cobby. There's just guys just leaving from that team. My boy Devontae was going to Oakland and sorry, Vegas. So it was just a lot going on. And I think, being in Chicago, it's one of those situations like from the outside looking in, you would think that it's just a lot of disarray within the building because Chicago hasn't been able to win, too many games over the last several years. But from top to bottom is one of the better organizations that, I've, been a part of and been able to
Hmm.
experience as far as the energy. And it felt good to go to work there. And obviously the last 2 years, I understand you know, how it's ran over there. And, I have some friends on that team now that I've been able to connect with over the last couple of years. And, I just, I don't want to bookend myself or kind of put myself in a box.
Understood.
I'm open to whoever understands my value and understands that I'm not just a guy that, older guy that's going to wear a jersey and be a rah rah guy just because naturally I lead in a way from the front and I do it with my work and by example. We get that, but I still can play too. So um, it's just really all about where you're valued, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, whatever pops up, and if there's a market for a 41-year-old tight end that still has a lot to give to the game, and obviously the leadership part is going to be there, and that's it's always been there, but I'm anxious and biting at the bit to get at it too on the field. So
I like what we're doing here. We're saying, hey, NFC North, oldest rivalry in the freaking game, 100+ year rivalry. Bears, Packers, fight for me. Who wants me?
Yeah.
Who? I think you have value to both. I'm going to root for the Green Bay part, but I know that I heard you've said like you're open to going to Chicago. You're talking about you liked going to work there. You liked the energy there. There is a regime change. Are we into that? Like, are we, because you want the coaching, you want to go to a contender. I think it'd mean a lot to Chicago fans that you want to be there because it must mean that you see them that way. What worked really well for you in Chicago?
I think, well, first and foremost, my tight end coach, Jim Dre, who played in the league for a while. And I think he just does a really good job of getting us prepared. And just that energy of a guy who's played the game and understands the different aspects of what it means to play tight end. And, obviously Cole Kmet and being there with him, we've developed a really close relationship. I'm actually going to his wedding in a couple weeks.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, he's one of those guys that I kind of see a lot of the things that I was going through in my career early on. In his career, it's kind of mirrored, and he's a guy that going to put his face in there and block you. He's tough. He plays through being hurt, injuries like I did, and he's just a guy that's about ball. And so that relationship right there kind of set the tone for what it was going to be like there. And me being on the side of him and watching him develop his game into what he's going to be, has
mm-hmm.
been kind of a joy for me too, right? Like it's almost like a player coach type thing because I'm on the field obviously competing with him, but I'm also coming from a vantage point of like, this is just special that I've been able to play long enough in this league to watch guys live out their dream as well and like see it from a different view. And I think that's given me the genuine appreciation for this game and help, kind of gas up my purpose too. Like it makes me play harder. I wake up in the morning knowing that my purpose is more than just putting on a jersey, right? It's giving back and um, when I'm done playing this game, like I can't take all of this knowledge with me. Being able to give it back has been something that really has filled my cup. And that kind of correlates to me going out there and making sure I give them everything that I have. And when they turn on the film, they know what Big Dog is going to be. And being accountable and leading from the front is what it's always been about. And that's
I
what it
mean, now
always.
I'm like convinced like you'll be back in Chicago because you've got obviously Cole Kmet. You love you're going to his wedding, but Colston Loveland, also young, could use you to teach him how to block. Not really a big part of his game. You're the best there is. So Ben Johnson loves himself a two tight end set. I could see that working a little bit. Have you talked to him at all? No FaceTime is from Ben Johnson.
Not yet. I mean, I haven't talked to
Okay.
Ben Johnson. Obviously, I'm pretty close with management there, and we've had small talk here and there, and the door is not closed yet. And so for me, hearing that, like it's cool. Like I'm grateful that that's what the case is, but I can't necessarily hang my hat on it, right? Like things happen in this league all the time, and for me, it's just about being in the best shape that I can be in. So when my number does get called, I'm ready to step right in and plug and play like I always have been. And obviously, watching Ben Johnson from afar, I've been a fan and seeing what he's been able to do, especially with the Lions and making sure those guys are in positions to make plays and drawing up schemes to best utilize the people on his team. And I feel like, that's something that, if you're not even just a young player, but an old player, you're excited about because you know that you're not going to be wasted, right? Like as an
Mm.
athlete, you just want to be out there and be your best. And it's already hard enough to play this game when everything goes right, right? Like you got people on the other side that want to tear your head off. And so with that being said, like you just want to be able to focus in on your job and doing your job. And if you got a coach with the mind of Ben Johnson is going to come in and make sure that he's putting you in spots to be successful, you can just go out there and worry about just playing your game. And so obviously it's something that would be cool to be a part of. And we'll see what happens. Like I'm one of those people that um, I'm very present all the time. And
Hmm.
right now it's just about working out. I'm a free agent right now. And then, hopefully when that opportunity does come, I'll be able to just shift my mindset on whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. But I've always been able to give my personal best because I live like I'm on a 1-day contract. Like I don't, like if I don't give my absolute best at whatever it is that I'm doing in that day, I can't renew my contract for the next day. And so that pressure in itself holds me accountable and keeps me 10 toes down.
You are where your feet are, and that's how, like, anybody has a question about how you made it to year 20, that's how. You didn't take it for granted. You worked your ass off, and you're still playing at a really high level somehow. I don't know how. Like, you're probably an alien or doing some crazy ayahuasca and stuff with our boy Aaron, but that's for another day. Okay, you were in Chicago. You like Chicago. I love that. I'm from Chicago. I know the energy of that city. I know what they think they deserve. I know that they can be rational and irrational. Where does the Caleb fit into this? Because you're such a professional. You even just said player coach. When you're reading this ESPN headlines from Seth Wickersham's book about Caleb being left alone to study film, what was your reaction to that?
Kind of disappointed. I feel like, you draft a guy, #1 overall, with that kind of talent. Um, you're essentially giving him the keys to your organization. I just feel, there's a responsibility there to make sure, obviously, one, coaching, but teaching, right? And making sure that this player has everything that he needs to develop in a way that you leave nothing unturned, right? And, reading that, I know if that was me, I got drafted at number 28, in the first round, and I still needed that, right? Like I still needed guidance and direction
Hmm.
to kind of develop in ways so that the nuances of the game came easy to me, right? The game started to get slower to me really fast because of my habits, right? And things that was able to learn from my tight end coach and a few really awesome veterans that I was able to attach to. And obviously, it's not too late, but it's still. I didn't like reading that or hearing that per se.
Was that something that you knew was going on? Like what? Like I don't even understand how that would work. Like, were you surprised by that? I'm sure you made yourself available to Caleb.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was definitely surprised by it, and I think how it works around the building. Like you're in your position groups the most, right? So you don't necessarily like you see each other in passing, you get in the locker room, you mix it up in the locker room, and obviously in practice you're going at it, but you spend the most time with your position coach in your room and with your group. And so definitely, we didn't notice that it was happening, but um, now that I think guys are aware of it, obviously in that building, like it's not going to repeat itself for sure. And Caleb and I have developed a really good relationship over this last year. Like we spent holidays together during the season, and we hung out here, obviously in LA. And
Great.
he's a guy that wants to be great. He's a guy that can admit that he doesn't know it all. And part of it is, what I told him is, in most situations, not just football, you have to learn how to become an active listener, right? Like you played this game for as long as you have, like there's a certain amount of knowledge that you think that you do have, but there's so much more if you're able to just open up your mind and just be an active listener, and not necessarily think you have all the answers, but even if you do have the answer, just sometimes sit back, listen, you'll learn more that way. And that's something that we've kind of harped on a little bit together. And me talking to him about that kind of holds me accountable to do the same, because I feel like in this world in general, not just sports, but in this life, and being able to connect with people and connect with things around you, being an active listener is super important. And I think that's going to be essential to take his game to the next level.
Yeah, and this is someone who's, he is younger than you. And like, I'm sure he goes to you. And like, his idol happens to be a good friend of yours, a former teammate of yours who made, I'm sure, Green Bay special for you and Aaron Rodgers. What did Caleb ask you about Aaron just all the time? What was he asking you about him?
It's more so not necessarily direct questions, but more so like you could just tell that's his favorite guy. So sometimes if I'm having a conversation with DJ or Keenan, I'll see Caleb because Caleb locker is like was two lockers away from mine, and I'll see him kind of like navigating or kind of migrating towards where we were talking about it. but more so just A-Rod's play style, his mindset, um, his ability to take over games, and just his demeanor, right, and how he was able to lead. And obviously, I could definitely speak to that because that's the
Mhm.
thread in which A-Rod and I kind of connected and became really good friends. It was just how we come to work, right? And no matter how you look at it in professional sports, especially in football, because there's so many guys, your value is kind of it hinges on how you come to work, right?
Yeah.
And how are you in meetings? Do you take notes? Are you on time? Are you early? Do you stay late? Like that right there alone sets the tone for your relationships and your friendships in this league. And, guys like Devontae Adams, Aaron
Yes.
Rodgers, Dave Bakhtiari, and Randall Cobb, like, I mean, just true professionals. And it was easy when I got there for me to fit in a way to where I didn't have to try. All I had to do was be myself because I'm already that type of workload or that type of work and professionalism I'm already attached to. So
It worked. I have like 12 seconds. I have like 19 other questions. I really have like 12 seconds. Have you and Aaron quickly, have you guys talked about playing together again?
I mean, it's always been something that A-Rod would bring up, even when we were in Green Bay. He's like, hey, we got to retire together,
Have you
X, Y,
talked
and
about
Z.
playing with the Steelers?
Nah, we haven't talked about playing with the Steelers, no.
We got to
But
get that FaceTime going. I can't wait to see where you play. This was such an
yeah,
incredibly insightful conversation. Good luck. Enjoy the vibes. I mean, Deshaun, by the way, is like, no, he's playing for the Rams. He's not playing anywhere. I want you to play in
yeah,
Green Bay. Get
yeah,
your
nah,
butt to Green Bay.
man, it's for me. Like I told you earlier, it's just
Yeah.
whoever values me and
Yep.
respects me and knows my skill set and able to put me in positions to actually like play and not just be a guy on the sideline thinking that I'm just an older guy. Like I'm
No, you're a badass and I don't even know how you fucking do it. So I'm sorry, I just swore. We are done with our show. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
appreciate you.
Marcedes,
Thank you.
thank you.